Hey YouTube, NorCal Prepper 74 here. Just wanted to do a quick two-part video here. First, I want to thank all 19 of you for watching my first video. It meant a lot. I was so excited to see that I had one view and then 3 views, and then and anybody who did watch the video knows that it was my first one, and it was already kind of made me a little nervous as it was, but it was fun, and I had a great time doing it, and I appreciate all the great, positive feedback. Really didn't get any negative feedback at all, but of course, if there's something you want to say, please, by all means, go ahead. I did want to make a quick comment on that video. First of all, I kind of looked at the video, and I noticed that the moment I, took out the shotgun and racked it, that it might have given off the idea that I think I'm some kind of Billy Badass that's going to go shoot up the neighborhood. I want to assure you that that is entirely not the case. That in fact, the moment that I bought the shotgun, I felt this very overwhelming sense of responsibility. I think and I hope that everybody felt that when they purchased their first, and not just first, but last, second, 20th, whatever firearm. I do keep my guns locked up, and I do take preventative measures to make it hard for somebody to either A, find them, or if they do get them, to shoot them or use them in any way. So I think I definitely owe it to the firearm nation to be responsible, and I didn't want to give off the idea that I wasn't. So what I also wanted to kind of go over is that obviously there's going to be best and worst case scenarios if somebody were to break into your home, or if an intruder somehow came in. I did get a comment that, well, if you rack it, you might give away your position. Absolutely. You're 100% right. You could give away your position, but you always hope that if somebody were to hear that noise, that they would just kind of pass on by. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, I don't even want to think about it. But either way, I just wanted to kind of clarify that real quick. Also wanted to talk about why I prep, and in addition, I wanted to talk about goals. If you're so far behind the curve like I am, like, where do you start? What do you do? I talked about getting canned food, from family, and stuff that people aren't going to use, or they're throwing it out, or they're just letting it expire, or whatever. Well, first of all, let's start with why I prep. There could be so many different reasons. My reasoning for prepping is, because I worry about things like natural disaster. I live in California. There's earthquakes here. If an earthquake were to hit and it was a big one, and I've been through earthquakes, and thank God I've come out completely unscathed. But if a big one were to hit and that were to happen, and the shelves would be empty at the grocery store, if there are shelves or a grocery store even there. So, that's one reason. Obviously, a lot of people talk about the economic collapse, or if that's going to happen. Of course, your same preps could be utilized for that as well. There's crazy people in Switzerland, trying to split proteins on viruses to make it compatible with humans, and why would anybody want to get anybody else sick is beyond me. Bioterrorism, whatever you want to call it. Well, if that were to happen and somehow it were to get into the water, or water bottles, or food that you bought at the grocery store, well, maybe that might cause some kind of panic, and knowing that, hey, I've had this food for a year and it's not part of it, and maybe that might give me a little bit of peace of mind. So there's several different reasons why I prep, and why anybody else should prep. I also kind of wanted to talk about goaling. Where do you start? What's enough? There's so many things to get. You got to worry about food and water and medical, and protection and lighting and just everything. It's just it gets very very overwhelming at times. You know, if you're sitting there and you're like, my God, you know, I see some of these YouTube videos. These guys have like stacks and stacks and stacks of food, and I'm just like, holy mackerel! Or you know, water collection systems, you know, rain collection systems. They have, you know, $1,000, you know, water filters that can, you know, fill up a bathtub in, you know, less than 20 minutes. You know, I mean, they got all sorts of crazy, amazing stuff out there. Well, what if you don't have the money to buy all that right now? And I don't. So I kind of thought, like, how would I prep to make myself at least feel like I'm making some progress? So what I did is I thought, you know, best thing for me to do, because I do work 35 miles away, is that maybe I make a 72-hour bag, an emergency bag. You know, I'll try not to use bug out, but, you know, going back and forth, what if there was a natural disaster or an economic collapse or something crazy happened or a terrorist bombing and I couldn't get home? Well, if I didn't have, you know, some kind of emergency preparedness, then I'd be way out of luck just like all these other people. So what do is I start small. You know, I mean, maybe I sit there and I say, okay, so 72 hours, so I got that bag out of the way. Now maybe I start long term. Maybe I start, okay, let me get a week's worth. Now let me get like 2 weeks worth. Now let me put it in a couple different places, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You actually start doing things without even knowing that you're doing them. What do I mean by that? Well, if you start small, you know, you might end up with like something like, you know, a water filter that, you know, you could not only use, you know, if you had to bug out, but you could actually use it if you had to batten down the hatches and really ride it out at home. You know, I mean, this is, you know, stuff that I was thinking about. You know, I can't afford a $1,000 water filter right now to, you know, ensure that I have, you know, pure flowing water for the next, you know, 2 years or whatnot. So I had to start small. And, you know, one way to do that was to, like I said, make an emergency bag. Okay, so here's my emergency bag. You know, I really did kill a couple of birds with one stone with this. I ended up making it, you know, so it's an emergency bag and it's compatible. But if I wasn't going to leave the house and, you know, and I had to write it out, there's a lot of stuff in here I can use while I'm home as well. And I'm going to go over that on the next video. So for now, I just wanted to kind of talk about what the next video is going to be about and just kind of thank everybody. So see ya. I guess that's it. NorCal Prepper 74. I'll see you in a few minutes.